Do. Oh, here we are then. Oh my goodness. Are you ready? Am I ready? Is the world ready? Welcome to day 13 of 31 days of English in October 2019. Oh, hello there. Hi everybody, this is Mr. Duncan in England, slurping on his coffee. How are you today? Are you okay? I hope so. Are you happy? I really hope so. So I'm drinking my coffee. Yes, once again, I need my fix of caffeine. Fix. The word fix can mean something that you really need. It can mean something that you want, you desire, something that makes you feel better once you have it. So this is my fix of caffeine, my cup of coffee, to keep me going over the next hour. Yes, it is live English. And yes, I am live, honestly. I'm not joking. I am really live now at 6 minutes past 2 on, well, yes, it is the weekend and it is Sunday. It certainly is. It's Sunday. I hope your weekend is going well. How is your weekend? Is it a good weekend? Has it been a wonderful weekend so far? For some people, I know it is Sunday morning. For others, it is Sunday night. Right here, it is Sunday afternoon, and I hope you are having a super duper day. My coffee is going cold. And as you know, I don't like drinking coffee that has gone cold, so I'm going to have a little slurp. Do you mind? Perhaps you have your own hot beverage where you are right now. Maybe you have a lovely drink in front of you. So let's all slurp together. After 3. 1, 2, 3. Sometimes only a cup of coffee will do. So I hope you're okay. Lots of things going on here in the UK. I suppose I should mention the subject that a lot of people are talking about, because we are entering a very crucial period of time for this particular thing. At the end of this month, we will leave, or as far as I know, we will leave the European Union here in the UK. So this is Brexit. That is what I'm talking about. To be honest with you, it is the only thing that people are talking about in this country, besides the weather. Talking of which, let's have a look outside, shall we? So right now outside, not too bad. We had a lot of rain this morning, but apparently it's going to be lovely and sunny later. So apparently the sun is going to come out. I don't think it's going to come out yet, though. And over there, you can see it's very misty in the distance. You can see the clouds going across one of the famous landmarks in the area in which I live. And yes, it almost looks tropical. It looks like I'm in Brazil or somewhere. It looks very tropical out there. It is quite cold, but also humid as well at the same time. So that is the view right now out the window. I hope you are okay. Lots of things to talk about today. I thought for a change we would talk about some grammar rules. So we are talking about grammar today. Also words connected to change. Now, you might not believe this, but there are so many words connected to this one simple word. So who would have thought that this word could have so many other words and phrases connected to it. But we will look at that a little bit later on as well. Also, we are going on the road with a special video showing me in the car with Mr. Steve. A lot of people seem very interested in Mr. Steve's habits. He has quite a few habits, and one of his big habits is going out in the car. He loves driving. He likes cars very much. He really does like them a lot, in fact. So we'll be taking a look at Mr. Steve and also myself, something we recorded way back in 2013. We were visiting Mr. Steve's mother, and we were actually in the car, and I was talking to you about all sorts of things to do with my life and also the things I enjoy doing and words and phrases connected to being on the road, being in a car. For those who are wondering, yes, I am here every day, every single day. I am here 31 days of live English, October 2019, to celebrate my 13th year on YouTube. So yes, it was on the 31st of October 2006 when I first started doing my live streams. Not my live streams. I'm getting so carried away here. My English lessons on YouTube. I don't think I was doing live streams in 2006 because live streaming didn't exist. Can you believe it? So there you can see me Monday to Friday, 2 p.m, Saturday, 12, just after midday, UK time on Saturday. And on Sunday, also I am here 2 p.m, UK time as well. And that's what I'm doing right now. I am with you live, and I suppose we should have a look at the live chat, because that is why we are here, to share our love of English. I suppose you could say that we are all English addicts. We like to have our fix of English to keep us going. Hello to Blue Thunder. Hello, Blue Thunder. Nice to see you here. Also, Grace Chin. Andrew is here. Alamgir, Sarge. Hello to you and hello to everyone on the live chat today. Thank you very much for joining me. I know it is lovely of you, very kind of you to spend your time with me today. Really, really good. Tanya is here. Hello, Tanya. Also, Sonia. Mr. Steve has a friend called Sonia. Huang is here with his little Justin Bieber picture. Justin Bieber. I can't believe Justin Bieber is only 24. I really did think he was 60. Vitas is here from Lithuania. Nice to see you here today. And a big hello to everyone watching in Lithuania. Maria. Hello to Maria. Nice to see you here. Francesca. Hi, Mr. Duncan. Anna Kobe is here watching in the Netherlands, otherwise known as Holland. Ubaha. I love your name. I hope I pronounced it right. Hello to you. Massimo. Alamgir is here. Also Nasir as well. Wow. We have Patrick. Hello once again. Patrick, nice to see you back as well. Many people over the past few days have started joining me on my live chat, and quite a few are new viewers. So if it is your first time here today, if it is your first time on the live chat, please let me know. I might give you something special. Hello, Amra Sanad. Hello, Amra Sanad. Nice to see you here as well. Is it your first time here today? Please tell me. Hello also to Guadeloupe. Hello to Belarusia, one of the moderators on this live stream. Also, Pachu, if you didn't take coffee, then what would happen? I don't know. Maybe I would fall asleep. Maybe I would be standing here in front of you, snoring and having a very nice dream. Hello, Luis Mendez, one of the other moderators here on the live stream. Nice to see so many people here today. Of course, the whole point of this is to let you listen to English being spoken. Also, this is live. So everything that happens is spontaneous. Nothing here has been planned. So everything you see is happening right now. So maybe I might fall to the floor. Maybe I will faint right now. And there's nothing I can do to stop it from happening. It is all live. JC Geordie, hello to you. Hi dear Mr. Duncan, I'm glad to hear your pure English before I head to my fitness program. Oh, it sounds to me as if JC Geordie is doing a little bit of keep fit. This is a time of year when a lot of people start to think about their health, or should I say the lack of health, especially at this time of year, because we are heading towards the festive season. So as November approaches, and then of course we go into December, there are a lot of festivities occurring during that month. I'm not saying which ones, because we all know what they are. We all know what goes on in December. Lots of festivities and of course lots of eating. So people do become more aware of the fact that they are eating more, or maybe they are overeating during the month of December especially. So at this time of the year, a lot of people tend to become a little bit unhealthy, especially here in the UK, because of course winter is now approaching here. So I think during the winter months, people become less active. So they don't exercise as much. They don't go out as much as they might during the summer. So health is something we often neglect during the winter months. I think it is fair to say. Sharaya says hello to Mr. Duncan and to everyone. Thank you very much for joining me today. Also, Wasantha. Hello, Wasantha. I had a lovely day yesterday. I went over to my hometown of Stafford. I went to see my sister and also my mum as well. Also, we had a lovely meal right here in Much Wenlock. We had a lovely meal at our favourite little tea room. And we had, what did we have yesterday? Stew. We had stew and dumplings. Oh, wow. And the strange thing was, when we arrived at my mother's house, can you guess what my mother was eating? Can you guess what my mother was eating when we arrived? She had stew and dumpling. So bizarre. I didn't realise. So when I arrived there, I was rather shocked to find out that my mother was eating the same meal as we were earlier that afternoon. Yeah. Just hello to Christella. Hello, Christella. Hi, everyone. I am drinking my cup of tea at the moment, though I am a French person. Oh, I see. So what do French people normally drink? Is it coffee? Now, I did notice when I was in Paris a few months ago, I did notice that there were a lot of coffee houses. So it did appear that it's as if coffee is very popular in France. Hello, Mr. Duncan. How can I speak English fluently and confidently? Well, first of all, you must make English a part of your life. You must make it part of your daily routine. You must create an English environment around you. So that is one of the ways of doing it. You must get used to using English every day. So get used to doing it, make it a part of your life, whether it is reading or listening or speaking. Talking of reading, don't forget you can also have the captions on the screen. Ooh. All you have to do is press that button there and you will have live captions as if by magic. Can you believe it? It's amazing. So if you press that button there, you will be able to see what I'm saying on the screen during the live broadcast. So yes, that is something worth mentioning. Another thing worth mentioning is grammar. And today we are going to talk about conditionals. I was asked last week if I could briefly explain what conditionals are, so I'm going to talk about that a little bit later on. So that coming up. I do like to talk about grammar. However, not everyone likes grammar. Not everyone likes to talk about grammar or listen to grammar being talked about. Also, I suppose it's worth mentioning that not a lot of people, or some people, really don't like me, to be honest. I've heard some very strange things said about my English lessons. For example, someone said, Mr. Duncan is an acquired taste. So when we say that something is an acquired taste, it means something that only certain people might like, maybe only a certain group of people, or maybe my appeal might be limited to a certain group of people. So it's very strange that some people think that I am, or my English lessons are, an acquired taste. So not everyone finds them entertaining or interesting. Another one, some people say, Mr. Duncan is not my cup of tea. He really isn't. So if something is not your cup of tea, you might say, Mr. Duncan, he isn't my cup of tea. It means you don't really like that particular thing. If something is not your cup of tea, it means it is something that you don't really like, or maybe you are not a fan of. Something you don't really like. So maybe you might hear someone say, I tried to watch Mr. Duncan, but unfortunately he is not my cup of tea. Or, of course, your cup of coffee, if you are a coffee drinker. Mr. Duncan is not for everyone. My English lessons might sometimes seem very excitable, or I might seem excited, or maybe very passionate, perhaps too passionate about the English language. I love doing this, and I always like to try and transfer my love of English to you, because I have always been a fan of the English language. However, my lessons might not be for everyone. So some people might not like this. They might find this style of teaching very unusual. Even some teachers might complain about it. That's what happened in China. A lot of people used to get very angry because I would always get the jobs. I would always get lots of jobs offered to me. And then other people started complaining about it. They said, why do you keep giving work to that Englishman? He's so weird. Anyway, I am what I am. I can't change the way I am. I am me. And what you see is what you get. Hello to Irene. Hello to Irene. Nice to see you here today. Jiang is here, also watching in Vietnam. Nice to see you here as well. Lenka. Hello, Lenka. Oh, Lenka is watching in Slovakia. Nice to see you here as well. Wow, a lot of people here already on the live stream. Hello to Rote. Mr. Duncan, I love your accent. Is this standard British English? Is it a standard British accent? Well, really, there is no such thing as standard British accent, because as you go around the country, you will hear many different accents around the country. Even I have an accent. So I don't think my accent is actually pure English, to be honest. Even though a lot of people say it is. I disagree. Hello to Anna. Hello, Anna. Anna says, I hate autumn. It always makes me depressed. I suppose one of the reasons why autumn and winter can be very depressing is because you have less daylight. So normally the days are much shorter during the autumn and winter months. So I think one of the reasons for that is there is less light. I love walking out on a sunny day. I love being outside when it is bright and sunny. However, I agree with you. I think sometimes the winter months, especially during winter, can be very depressing because the days are short, the nights are very long, and of course it can be very cold as well. Hello, Mustafa. Hello, Mr. Duncan from Morocco. I am beginning with you. Thank you very much. Your teaching manner is very exciting. Thank you very much for that. That's kind of you. Mr. Duncan, have you ever learnt a foreign language, even if you love yours? Well, I speak English as my native language because I'm in England and people speak English. But of course, I've had to try and learn other languages. I used to be very good at French when I was at school. I don't know how or why. Maybe it's because some of my distant relations were actually French. So yes. So a little bit of my family history actually comes from France. And also Chinese as well. I had to learn survival Chinese when I was living in China. So survival Chinese are the words that you need to survive every day. So maybe you have to go to the shops, or maybe you have to tell the taxi driver where you want to go. So yes, survival Chinese. When you go to a country and you don't speak the language, quite often you will have to know some of the words so you can survive. Very similar to when we went to Paris. In fact, I was very surprised at how many French words Mr. Steve knows. I was really surprised. I think it was the first time I had ever heard Steve speak French. And it was very unusual. It felt very strange. Palmyra. Today I read on Facebook about the Swiss method to learn English in 14 days. I think it's not, and I recommend Mr. Duncan's YouTube channel. I'm not sure if you can learn English in 14 days. There are many people who say you can, but you can't. It is very hard to learn a new language in 2 weeks. Trust me. You might be able to learn simple phrases and maybe some basic words, and then from those words you can actually make some sentences. But other than that, you cannot grasp the whole English language. There is too much to learn in 14 days. Galina says you have a wonderful style of teaching. There are always other options on YouTube to study English for those who are not keen on your style. I adore it. Thank you, Galina. It is different. What I do is different. I stand out from other people for various reasons. When I was in China, the same thing happened. But for some strange reason, don't ask me why, because I still don't know why, a lot of people in China wanted me to work for them. And I ended up doing a lot of work in other places for my school. In fact, I think I became a sort of product. So I think I was a little bit of a commodity. I was a product. So people would actually phone the school up and they would ask for the Englishman. Oh, we saw the Englishman on TV last week. Can you please send the Englishman to our school? So that used to happen a lot. I love you as you are, Mr. Duncan. Thank you, Anna. I am not saying that for compliments. So that's not the reason why I'm doing it. I just thought it was interesting that what I do is not for everyone. Some people might not like this. They might not like me. They might see my big face on their screen and then immediately they will click away. Hello also to Lewis again. I don't think anyone can learn a foreign language in that short period of time. No, they can't. There are many people now appearing not only on YouTube, but also on the internet, generally, promising very quick English lessons that can learn English in 14 days, learn English in 6 months. No way. It's not going to happen. It really isn't. Talking of the English language, we are going to quickly take a look at something that occurs in English. We are going to talk about conditionals, a very interesting part of the English language. So we will briefly have a look at this. For those who don't like grammar, don't worry, it won't be on for long. And then we are going to take a ride in the car. And you are welcome to come with me. Very welcome. So here we go, conditionals. But the first question is, what is a conditional? Conditionals are structures in English that establish what will happen if a certain event takes place, or if a certain action is performed. This means that if a certain condition is true, a certain result occurs. You might describe a conditional as the definition of cause and effect in certain circumstances. However, the effect or outcome can vary depending on the type of event and how it is viewed. So a conditional refers to things that happen and the results. However, there are 4 types of commonly used conditionals in the English language that are differentiated. They are put into different categories. So when we say differentiate, you split them up into certain categories. And they are differentiated on the basis of the degree of possibility. So that is the degree of possibility implied by each of them. So when we say degree of possibility, it means how likely something is to happen. So we have the first conditional, the second conditional, the third conditional, and finally the zero conditional. The first conditional. This conditional is used to talk about future events that might happen. It uses the present tense to discuss the possible future events. For example, if it rains, we will have to cancel the picnic. If you come with me, I will make it worthwhile for you. If I go abroad, I will bring something back for you. If you wait till 1 p.m., you can go back with him. If you visit Paris, you must see the Eiffel Tower. The second conditional. This conditional is used to talk about the unreal possibility or impossible events. They establish the course of action that would follow. Where something would happen is either hypothetical or surreal. So when we talk about hypothetical, we are talking about things that are not real, but they can be imagined. So a hypothetical situation. Or, of course, something that is impossible. And that is surreal. The third conditional. This conditional talks about the past. unlike the first and second, which discusses events in the real or unreal future. These conditions too are therefore impossible, because they have either already occurred or might have occurred, but won't anymore. Going back to the previous one, if I had $1 million, I would buy a penthouse on Park Avenue. I could stop working if I won the lottery. If I were you, I would ask her to marry me. What would you do if it were to rain later? And then looking at the third conditional again. If I had studied a little more in college, life would have been easier. If we had got to the airport on time, we would have caught our flight. I could have asked him about the matter if he had shown up. And then we have the zero conditional. This is a very strange one. Zero conditional means something that is a fact. So, in that respect, the zero conditional discusses an absolute certainty. The result of the condition is always true. The most common types of zero conditionals are scientific facts, so things that are true and, I suppose, proven. For example, if you heat water to 100 degrees, it starts to boil. Zero conditionals, therefore, do not deal with the future or the past. They simply deal with facts. The if in these conditionals can be replaced with when. When you heat water to 100 degrees, it starts to boil. So we have the first conditional. The second conditional. The third conditional. And the zero conditional. And I hope that's been helpful. It is a rather complicated part of English, but then again, a lot of English can be very confusing for those who are learning the language. Eric, if I had gotten up early or earlier, I would not have lost half of this streaming. Thank you, Eric. I like that. That's a very good example of a conditional. If I had gotten up earlier, I would not have lost half of this stream. Oh, maybe you should set your alarm clock for half an hour earlier so you won't be late. Grammar is boring, says Belarusia, but I like the examples very much. Yes, and the good thing is you can watch this video again, and of course you can stop the video. You can pause the video at the thing you want to read. So another good thing about watching videos is that you can stop the video, you can pause the video, and you can see the part that you missed. And maybe you can write things down. So that is another reason why learning English through video or through the internet and through my lessons is a good idea. I think so. Thank you, Salad. How many years will it take to learn the English language? Well, it really depends. But we are talking years, not weeks and not months. So maybe a year or two, more likely 2 years, most likely 3 years. But the thing to remember is during that time your level of English will increase. So during the first year, you will probably learn quite a lot of words, many new phrases, many new things to help build your word power. And then as you go on, you will collect more words, and then you will learn more grammar rules. So it's really a thing that you progress over time with. You can't rush it. And this is something I've said many times. A lot of people think you can learn a language quickly. You can't. You cannot. Hello to Huang. Can you give some ways to have a good accent? Again, if you want to change your accent, then you might need to listen to other types of English being spoken. So that would be my advice there. So let's have a little video clip. I will have a rest. I'm going to have a lie down on the floor, and we are going to go on the road because it is 31 days of English, and sometimes I like to show you things that are a little bit different. And this particular video is no exception, because right now we are going on the road. Here we are driving through the middle of Much Wenlock. This is the main road going into Much Wenlock. But we're not going to Much Wenlock today. Oh no, we're going somewhere a little further. Come on, Grandad, put your foot down. Now here's something I've never done before. I'm making a lesson in the car while the car is moving. Today I'm going to Banbury, and the reason why I'm going there is because I'm going to see Mr. Steve's mum, because she was in hospital earlier in the year, and I'm going today to try and cheer her up, and perhaps also she'll be cheering me up as well because she's lovely. A lot of people ask me, Mr. Duncan, why don't you have a car? Why don't you drive? And, well, there isn't a simple answer. It's just probably because I've never really been interested in cars, to be honest, never. I used to play with cars when I was a kid, but I never really grew fond of cars. I never really got into them in a big way. My passion as a teenager was motorbikes. I loved motorbikes a lot, and I used to ride a motorbike as well. A couple of my friends rode motorbikes. One sadly died, and the other was seriously injured on his. But I continued to ride mine until one day when I had almost an accident. Not quite an accident, but it scared me enough to get rid of my motorbike. After that one terrible incident, I never rode the motorbike again, and I sold it. So these days I like to sit in the car as a passenger. It's much more comfortable. And of course, Mr. Steve is a very good driver. There he is, behind the wheel. It's Mr. Steve. Now don't look at the camera, Mr. Steve, because I don't really want the car to crash into a tree. Thank you very much. There he is, Mr. Steve. He's a fantastic car driver. He's probably the best driver I know. Do you know sometimes when you're in a car and you're with someone and their driving is so terrible that your buttocks clench together? You're actually holding onto the seat with your fingers because you're so afraid that the car might crash at any moment. Well, Mr. Steve is not that type of driver. He's a very good driver. Ooh, we are becoming very creative with these angles, aren't we? There is a phrase in English, to lose your nerve. If you lose your nerve, then you become terrified. You suddenly lose your confidence. You lose your nerve. You can also lose your bottle. It's a great phrase, that. So if you suddenly get scared or you suddenly panic, you can say, I'm sorry, I've lost my bottle. I've lost my nerve. Don't worry, I haven't lost my nerve today. I'm still feeling very confident. And I hope you are too. Do you own a car? Would you like to own a car? Do you know how to drive a car? Would you like to one day drive a car? Some people don't like driving. They hate it. They hate sitting in the traffic jams. They hate waiting in the queues. Driving a car can be a very stressful thing to do. I hope you enjoyed that. And there we were on the road. And that was recorded way back in 2013 during my 31 Days of October, which took place a long time ago, 6 years ago. Can you believe it? So there we were on the road. A lot of people already have said, Mr. Duncan, you are driving on the wrong side of the road. It must look very strange for those who drive on the opposite side from us. It must look as if we are going the wrong way up the road. Mr. Duncan, be careful. You're in the dead seat, as they say in France. Oh, I see. So the passenger seat is referred to as the dead seat. Oh, I don't like the sound of that, to be honest. Palmyra, do you know the existence of Brussels English? Really? It is a special language that slang authorities are speaking. I've never heard of Brussels English. Never, ever. Huang says, Mercedes is my favourite car, but I can't afford it. Mr. Steve has a Mercedes. It belongs to his company, but he likes it very much, all the same. Ibrahim, hi Mr. Duncan, can you explain the pronunciation of the words work, word and world? Well, I can explain them, and I can also pronounce the words, and I can get very close to the camera if you want. So we have word, word, word. And then we have work, work, and world, world. I hope that helps. In Vietnam, we drive the car on the right of the road. I know, it always looks strange. It always looks strange to me when I see people driving on the opposite side from us. And of course, sometimes that confusion can cause terrible consequences, as we found out a few days ago here in the UK. Can you show us a picture of Mr. Steve's car? I don't know why people are so interested in Steve's car. It is amazing. However, Steve does like cars very much. He is a big fan of all types of car. So the car he has now isn't a petrol car, even though it is a petrol car. So it runs on petrol, but also on electric as well. So it is what we call a hybrid. Hybrid. It is a combination. of things. Mr. Duncan says Pedro. Hello, Pedro. I would love to see your bedroom and your personal belongings. Can I just say, I have to have some privacy in my life. And one of the things I hold dearly is the place where I have my dreams. In other words, no way. No way. 6. Vinamra asks, why are you ignoring my messages? For the 1,000,000th time, I don't ignore people's messages. Trust me. Please trust me. But sometimes the live chat moves very quickly, so I don't see everyone's message. So please don't say that I'm ignoring you, because I'm not. I don't ignore you. I really don't. But sometimes I don't see your message because the live chat moves very quickly. And also, I am looking at your messages on my mobile phone, so the writing is very small, very tiny. In Japan, the passenger seat is death, because in a crash, the driver tries to keep... Oh, I see. Now I understand. So if a driver is experiencing loss of control, they will always try to save themselves. But of course, the passenger next to you will get the full force of the impact. I see. I understand now. I know what you mean. We are talking about a very interesting subject, and it seems like a very simple thing. It seems very simple, but in fact, it's quite complex. The word change. It is something that we all have to experience. It is something that occurs every day. So change is something that happens in all of our lives. And I think it would be fair to say, definitely, somewhere in the world, something is changing right now. But there are many ways of expressing change and many words connected to it. For example, alter. So if you alter something, it means you make changes. You alter something. You make one thing into another. Or maybe you have something and you don't like it, but you have to make some changes to the way it looks or the way it functions. So you alter the thing. You make changes. So you might alter the furniture. You might alter the appearance of your house. So you alter something. And when we do that, we describe it as making alterations. So alterations actually describes the act of altering. So when you alter, you make alterations. Another word now, adjust. Adjust. So this particular word means you make slight changes. So when you adjust something, it means you make slight changes. You adjust something. So maybe you are here, but you want to adjust your position. So you move to this point. You adjust something. But of course, it is still a form of change. So when you change, you adjust. You make a slight change. You adjust. Maybe your camera isn't straight, so you adjust the angle. You adjust the camera so it will be straight. Oh, I like this word, and this can be used in many ways. Convert. So convert, again, is another form of change. So when you convert, it means you change one thing to another, or you swap something. You swap one thing for another, or you change your position. So maybe something you believed was true, you now believe not to be true. So you convert. You convert from one way of thinking to another. You convert from that opinion to that opinion, or the opposite opinion. You convert. So to change something, you convert something. There are certain types of car that can change their appearance, and we call those cars convertibles. So a convertible car is one that can change its shape. Quite often, the roof can be removed, or it will move back. So convert. A person might convert from one religion to another. You convert. You might convert your energy that you use in your house. Maybe you use gas and electricity, but you convert to solar panels. So you use solar power. So that means you convert. If you want to move things around, you might rearrange. So to rearrange means to move things around. So you might rearrange your furniture. You might rearrange your schedule. So maybe you will change the times of your appointments. You will rearrange, move something around. Once again, this is a form of change. Here is something you might hear sometimes in politics. Reshuffle. If you reshuffle, quite often you will have a group of things, but you will move them around. So maybe you have a group of, playing cards, and you will reshuffle them. You will change them around. You will change their position. You will change their order. You will reshuffle. Quite often in politics. So maybe the people who are in charge of certain government departments might change or might be moved from one office to another. We call this a reshuffle. So quite often a government reshuffle. People will be moved around. They will all do different jobs from the ones they were doing before. Here's another one. Amend. Amend means change, quite often in a certain area. So you might amend a part of a speech. So maybe you have written a speech and maybe you don't like the ending. Maybe the ending isn't very good. So you'll make some changes. You might make some changes to the words used or the way you express a certain thing. You will amend the text. You make amendments. You make changes. In the American Constitution, there are amendments. So these are things that may have been changed or even added. So if you amend something, you make changes. We often use that when we're talking about things that are written down. Transform. To change from one thing to another. It is a form of change. You transform. Transform from one thing to another. Of course, who remembers those robots? Those robots, and they used to change into different things. One moment they were a car, and the next moment they are a big giant robot. Transformers, robots in disguise. I'm trying my best to forget about the terrible Transformer movies. I am trying to erase them from my mind. Adapt. Oh, another type of change. If you adapt, it means you change your ways, or maybe you alter something, you change something to survive. So maybe you adapt to the change in conditions. So quite often in nature, we will talk about things that adapt. So maybe over thousands of years or millions of years, a creature will adapt. It will change to suit the environment. So maybe as the environment changes, the creature will also change. It will adapt. Here's an interesting word. Render. Render. Now, you might not think of this word as meaning change, and in some instances it doesn't. However, if you turn one thing into another form, you render it. Quite often in video editing, so when I am editing my videos, I will have to render the video from one form to another. So when I edit my video, I have to render the finished product. So it will become a new video clip. Render. Quite often in food production, rendering will happen. So quite often when animals are slaughtered, their meat or parts of their body will be rendered. They render the body. They render the body parts, maybe the bones or the flesh. It will be rendered. Another type of change is correct. You correct something. So in this particular word, we are using this as a verb. So this is verbal. So something can be right if it is correct, but also you can make something right. So you correct the spelling. You correct a person's pronunciation. So you put them right. You give them the right way of doing something. You tell them what they should be doing. They have made a mistake, but this is how you really do it. You correct them. So in this sense, we are using it to mean change. You will change the way a person does something. You will correct their mistakes. Then we have reassign. Again, very similar to reshuffle. So maybe you put one thing in a different place. You will give maybe a person who has one job, you will give them a new position. You will reassign them. You will give them a new task. So if you change a person's responsibility, you will reassign someone. So maybe your job is working in an office, but maybe later you will have to do something maybe in management. Maybe you will have your own office upstairs. You will be reassigned. You have a new job. You have a new task to fulfill. You are reassigned. Two more changes. Postpone. If you postpone, it means you put something off. You change something to another day or another time. So if you change the time or the day of an event to a later date or a later time, you postpone. So you put off until a later time or a later date. I'm sorry, we can't have our outdoor party this afternoon because it's raining. I'm sorry, I will have to postpone the party until another day. It means you have to put it off. Or quite often, you will come up with another date. So maybe we won't have the party today. I will postpone it until next weekend. So instead of today, I will postpone it until next weekend instead. Postpone. You put something off, you make changes to when something happens. Finally, the biggest change of all, grow. Now this one I could probably talk about for another 2 hours, but I won't be able to because I'm going in a minute. Grow. You can grow in so many ways. You can grow in height. You can grow in character. You can also grow in the things that you know. So when we talk about grow, it is quite often gradual or slow change, which talks about really the thing that I was mentioning earlier about learning English. So learning English is something you do slowly. You will grow your ability to speak English. It will happen over a certain period of time. You can't rush these things. So when something grows, it slowly changes. For example, a flower will slowly grow and open out and become something else. Quite beautiful. Ooh, hello, flower. So there, something that grows. Of course, we can also say grow old. We mature as we get older. So we grow old. We grow more mature. Some people might say we grow wiser. You change by growing. And I suppose, just like change, growing is unavoidable. It is something you can't stop. So growing old is something that you can't stop. And quite often, change is also something that is hard to prevent. It is very hard to put off or stop. Talking of stopping, it is now time for me to go. Wasn't that quick? I must be honest with you, that hour went very quickly. I almost can't believe it. But don't worry, I am back. I am here every single day during October, Monday to Friday, 2 p.m. UK time. So tomorrow I will be with you at 2 p.m. Tomorrow, 2 p.m. UK time from Monday to Friday. So now you know when I'm on for every single day during October. Excuse me. I just have to do something. I do like it when people leave messages on my live chat. But of course, they don't stay for very long if they are rude. They do not. I am going now. Thank you, Nalutsa. Thank you, Christelle. Christelle, I like your name, by the way. Christelle. It is like something shiny, something beautiful and valuable. Something that is crystal. Bye, sir. Bye also to Pachu. Bye, Raoul. Bye also to Alamgir. Bye-bye to everyone, in fact. Thank you, Belarusia. Thank you, Saturino. Oh, hello, Saturino. I didn't see you here. Thank you very much. Isn't that lovely? Thank you also to Palmyra, Valentin. Mr. Duncan, if there's controversy about your lessons on the internet, it means that you're a gifted person. You can get it as a scientific fact. Oh, thank you, Valentin. That's very kind of you. Of course, not everyone likes me. Not everyone likes my English lessons. Sometimes I think even YouTube, the algorithms on YouTube, don't like my English lessons. I have no idea why. I don't know. Anyway, enough of that. I'm back tomorrow. It is time to have a little dance as I say once more. Thanks for watching today. I'm back tomorrow from 2 p.m. UK time. Thank you very much for your company today. I will see you tomorrow. This is Mr. Duncan in the birthplace of English saying thanks for watching. See you tomorrow, 2 p.m. UK time. And of course, you know what's coming next. Yes, you do. Ta-ta for now.